We have a new weekly dividend ETF, and I am not surprised by any means. Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Spencer, and I talk all about ETF investing. I've kind of been specializing in these weekly dividend ETFs recently, so today we're talking about ticker NVII, the Rex NVDA Growth and Income ETF. Now, I will say this is a very unique weekly paying dividend ETF. I don't think we've seen one like this quite yet. I'm really excited about this. There seems to be more and more weekly dividend ETFs coming out by these companies, and there's a lot that we're going to unpack today in this video. Now, I will also say it's very new. They just released it, or just launched it, I should say. We have no dividend yield. We have no dividend history. So everything we're going to be looking at is just the information they've provided on their website. But maybe we'll find out if this weekly paying dividend ETF is the right pick for you and if it's going to make us some money in the long run. As always, if you guys are interested in ETFs, in passive income, in making money in the stock market, you are in the right place. So don't forget to like and subscribe so you join a community of passive income investors. Thank you so much. Let's roll that intro. On the RexShares website. And if you guys are not familiar with this company, they have a number of covered call ETFs. I'm doing some of them in a challenge actually where I have FEPI and AIPI. And also there's the crypto equity premium income ETF CEPI that I do think people have liked. I've gotten a lot of comments about it. And those are all income ETFs that are producing roughly 50 to 20%, or that's the target. And then there's a bunch of their single leverage 2X and whatnot, and so on and so forth. So we're talking about NVIDIA. Now, the underlying stock of NVIDIA is an important concept when we think about how this ETF is going to perform. Similar to how we have seen ticker MST drop at the beginning of the fund's life, because MSTR has dropped roughly 10 to 11%. We've seen nearly double that with MST. I think it's down about 18 or 19%, so not quite double. But that's what you have to factor in, is what do you think NVIDIA is going to do long term? Now, I will say, I think the explosive growth stage that NVIDIA has seen is probably coming to an end. Now, I am not saying that NVIDIA is not going to go up. I am not saying that it's going to go down. This is not financial advice by any means. In my opinion, and what I've seen NVIDIA do, I think it will continue to trend upward. What I mean when I say it's not going to have explosive growth is that I don't think it's going to absolutely double every single year for the next 5 years. Now, if it gets a 20 to 30% return in a year, that's phenomenal, and I'm happy with that. But I think the days of it absolutely doubling in a span of 6 to 8 months are probably over, as it's just too large to do that now. But on top of that, that is good news for this weekly paying dividend ETF because it is part growth and part income. Now, I do think this one's similar to ticker MST in the way that it's written, because we can see it has half uncapped potential upside and half weekly income via a covered call strategy. So you're getting a mix of both. And I will say as well, one important factor, current distributions, here I'll highlight it. Current distributions consist, I can't highlight it, of 100% estimated return of capital, meaning these are ROC, which is very, very important. Now, I haven't done a full video on return of capital. I am going to. It's just kind of hard to explain. I've done some digging and I understand it, but just because I understand it doesn't mean I'll be good at explaining it. So I'm still working on that video, but they also say all the same things that we've seen with a lot of these. This fund has a high degree of risk, yada, yada. If NVIDIA falls, this may fall more. It might not be offset by the income if NVIDIA does fall. So, of course, check out the website. Let me know what you guys think. And let's get into the details. So the fund's primary investment objective is to pay weekly distributions. Love it, right? The fund's secondary investment objective is to seek daily investment results before fees and expenses between 105 and 150% of the daily percentage change of the common stock NVIDIA. Now, what this means is you are not getting double. This is a 1.05x to 1.5x. So if NVIDIA goes up by 1%, NVII would go up by 1.05%, which some people mix up, and I understand the percentages can be confusing, but I want to make that known. It's not a 2x, it's a 1.5x to 1.05x, which all depends. I'm curious, I don't know how they vary, if they try and slow it on the down days and have it higher on the green days for NVIDIA. I don't know, but that's something that I should probably ask next time I do an interview. Someone write that down in the comments, and I'll ask it in the next interview. But still, this is really, really interesting, and I like the idea behind these because I will say, so I have 2 weekly dividend accounts, and this is something we need to talk about because I don't know what I'm going to do, and I want you guys to vote in the comments down below. Currently, I have one that has 18 tickers in it, 18 separate ETFs. They're all weekly paying, and they are all options ETFs. Whether they are an options ETF on like a YieldMax ETF, it all comes back to being an options ETF. Whereas I have the leverage ETFs, and those are kind of a mix where they all have leverage as a component, just like NVII, but some do pay a dividend based off of some small options as well, like MST. And there's 6 in that account. I just put out a video on those because some of them are up. One's up like 40-something% in a couple months. So I'll link that video at the end for those that are interested in seeing what is actually making people money in the market. But I'm not sure. I'm guessing NVII, because of its half leverage, it's probably going to go in that account, which will increase the number to 7. I'm trying to figure out how I can split these up because there's so many weekly payers now, and I don't want the videos to end up being an hour long because I'll be honest, it is awful to sit down and just talk for an hour. I mean, I'm an introvert. It may not seem like it. I am definitely an introvert, and so that kind of hurts me on the inside, even though I am still alone. It's just a lot of talking, which I'm not used to doing. But I will work it out, and I want to know what you guys want me to do. What's the most entertaining? What's going to keep you guys interested? Because I don't want to be boring. Talking about stocks and finances can be boring, and that's like the last thing that I want. And then the management fee for NVII. So back on track. Let me know what you guys think. Back on track with NVII. The management fee is 0.99%. This is good, I will say, because a lot of the weekly ones I've been seeing, the expense ratios get up to like 1.3%. So they're not absolutely blasting us right away with a really high expense ratio. And I think that's a really good sign for RexShares, that they understand and they want us to at least make money on it, right? Because we don't want to be paying all of the money that we're going to make into the management fee. But I will say again, this whole ETF, I should say half of it, 50% of this ETF is going to be based off what NVIDIA does. And I have spoken about NVIDIA quite a bit on this channel, and I like it a lot as a long-term play. Of course, who doesn't like NVIDIA, right? It's easy to say that when it's up 600% in the last year, year and a half, whatever. But I do like NVIDIA because of the sector, because AI is booming. It seems to be a continual thing. I don't think we're ever going to see AI completely fall off. I think we've seen most of the boom so far. But what NVIDIA is doing, if you guys aren't aware, is they weren't sued, but they were blocked from acquiring specific companies under the laws of being a monopoly, because we can't have NVIDIA owning everything AI. So instead what they're doing is they can't buy these companies, but they are allowed to invest in them. And you can actually track what NVIDIA is investing in, which I think is really cool. And that's kind of the easiest way to predict where we're going to go. But if any company knows about AI, it's going to be NVIDIA. So their investments become wildly popular, and they have to report those. If you didn't know that, they do have to make it public what they are investing in. So people will often just buy the shares of whatever they're investing in. But I do think NVIDIA has a phenomenal idea on AI, something that I will be honest, I know little about AI. And I'm okay with that. Maybe there's going to be future content AI. Maybe there's going to be YouTube AI. Who even knows? But I think it's going to be really interesting seeing what NVIDIA does and thus what NVII does. If you guys haven't known or haven't been told, there is this new video AI software, and it's absolutely phenomenal. And people are saying that YouTube is going to be all AI. I will be honest, I'm always not going to be AI. You can tell because I'm not good looking enough to be AI. Self-burn. Anyways, back into this subject, NVII. But just so you guys know, AI is here. It's here to stay. And I think it is really important to talk about that when we're looking at the NVIDIA. So the distribution, we don't have a distribution rate yet. We don't know how it's going to be. It really depends on the performance of NVIDIA, but you actually can go down and see the holding. So we can see NVIDIA, we can see cash and other, more NVIDIA, all the way down. And I believe there is, performance and all this other stuff, there's nothing yet. So this is very high risk. I will say it's extremely high risk. One thing you can also do, jump in, check out the fact sheet. They've got a lot of good info on here. Again, not a lot plugged in because it is so new. Net assets, $500,000. I always wonder how they start these ETFs. Do they get like capital from someone, or does the company put up $500,000 to invest it? But it's interesting. We can see they are targeting 1.25x, which I think is solid. We've seen that with the Roundhill ETFs. And one thing I'm very, very curious about, how is NVII, which is the weekly pay Roundhill ETF, going to compare with NVII? And why did they both pick NVIDIA? So I will be doing more and more comparison videos as more of these weekly pairs come out and they need to battle to see which one makes the most money. But again, tons of good information on here. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Are you guys tired of the weekly dividend ETFs? Are we wanting to keep them going? I really want to know what you guys are thinking because there are so many now. It's hard to distinguish. So I promise I am going to be your guide for the weekly dividend ETFs from here on out. I'll keep buying them. It's going to continue to cost me a lot of money, but hey, I love doing it and it's fun tracking the progress. And let's be real, I'm a numbers nerd. So it definitely is a benefit to me because I just simply enjoy it. And I do have some absolutely massive news. And I want to know your guys' thoughts on this as well. I'm asking for a lot of feedback on this video, but I appreciate it. I feel like you guys and I we're having a conversation, and I like to converse with you guys in the comments, of course. So I've been working with another YouTube creator. I'm not going to say who, actually a couple other creators, and we are going to be starting a podcast. Now, this podcast is going to cover a number of ETF topics. We have finalized on a name, but I'm not going to announce it just yet. But basically, we're going to be speaking all about ETFs, the stock market, what things are doing, newly launched ETFs. We're going to be doing CEO interviews combined with just a bunch of other stuff. And I want to know what you guys think about that. Is that something you'd be interested in? And if so, let me know what things you'd want to see on there. You guys know I did interview a couple CEOs. I have a CEO interview this Friday as well. And I will be real, it is very, very fun and super informative. And I think it'd be phenomenal to do that with another YouTuber who can ask different questions, see it from a different perspective than just me, to give you guys a more well-rounded look into these CEOs, the companies, what we think is good, what we think is bad, and of course, everything in between. So let me know your thoughts on that. And as always, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like. It really helps the channel out. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss an update, future updates. Of course, we have these videos popping up on your screen right now that you probably will enjoy if you liked this one, including our weekly dividend ETF update. And of course, more of those to come in the future. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.